Hello, this is Quick Skills, and today I'm going to be doing a complete overview of the 4TB retro game console found on Aliexpress. Now, before we go any further, I want to direct your attention to the description of this video because in this description you'll find my affiliate link for this product. There's two reasons why you want to use this link. One, it does support the channel, so be sure if you're going to buy this product, use my link. It's not going to cost you anything, and it is a great way to support this channel. The other thing is that there are a lot of different products from a lot of different vendors on AliExpress, and a lot of them look very similar. So if you want to make sure that you're getting the exact product that is reviewed here today, be sure to use that affiliate link. Now, the product that we're going to review, I purchased and had delivered to me within 2 weeks. So you can see there's a very limited time to get this in time for Christmas. Right now, they're estimating a delivery date of December 11th. So be sure to act quickly if you are purchasing this for a gift. My final out-the-door price once it was delivered was $80. That was the total price that I paid after taxes and deliveries. And there's always different bonuses and promotions going on. So I just want to make sure that you know the price that I paid after taxes and delivery. I was at $80 on the dot. And as I mentioned, we're going to be reviewing the 4TB hard drive. The 5TB is no longer available, so we're going to be doing the 4TB for you today. When I received this product, it came in a simple box with no instructions, and it was basically this 4TB hard drive and this USB 3 cable. Now, one of the reasons why I decided on this product, amongst many others, is the price point. At $80, I felt that there was very little risk to me if this product didn't do what it advertised. While there are options that will offer 12 terabytes of space at $230, I felt the risk was too high. And at 5TB hard drive, the discount really wasn't much. I was going to go from $80 to spending about $130. And so for me, the 4TB hard drive appeared to have everything that I wanted out of it. We're going to test it out today to see if that is true. But I think at $80, I think you get the best bang for your buck. Now, as I was looking through the listing, I could see different reasons why I wanted to get this product, but one of the reasons is having access to these three systems here. We have Retrobat, Launchbox, and Playnite. Retrobat houses over 66 emulators, and these are going to target games really between 1980 and 1990. So you have about 20 years of games that are going to be on here. You're going to find some early 2000s games as well. But a majority of the games are going to be your older games. Even 1970s are going to be in there, such as the Atari and ColecoVision, for instance. Those are all going to be in Retrobat. So if you're a retro gamer, having access to this is going to be really nice because you're going to have 54,000 ROMs. And they're not kidding. There's 54,000 ROMs in Retrobat. The next one is going to be Launchbox. This is going to house newer games, so there's access to Nintendo 64, the Wii. I even saw the Switch in here when I was previewing this product at home. I saw some, PS4, PS5. Now the listing does advertise PS5 and Xbox, but we'll see what comes included. I did not take a deep look into the modern games that it had offered. And then Playnite is another way to play computer PC games. And so we'll take a look and see what those 50 AAA rated games are. It does recommend that you have Windows 8 and above. I do want to give you full disclosure. I'm running on Windows 11 with an RTX 3080 and 32 gigs of RAM. So I'm pretty well set here with my computer. I don't think my computer is going to be the issue when running these systems here. But be sure to keep in mind that if you do have an older system, that Retrobat is probably going to launch very well for you, but Launchbox and Playnite, especially depending on how graphic intensive they are, it may or may not work. And one concern that I have, and we'll be able to test this today, is how is the game going to run off of a portable hard drive? Because I know that my computer is not going to be the reason for any kind of lag or stuttering, so if we see any lag or stuttering, I think it might be trying to load the game in through a portable hard drive. Even with the USB 3, I have some concerns that the product is not going to load or launch some of the higher end games, but we are going to find out today. And one of the main reasons why I decided to purchase this product for myself is this plug and play promise, where you can just plug it right into your computer and launch the emulators right out of the hard drive without having to install anything further. I own Launchbox, so the Launchbox that I'm loaded up, I signed into my account, so that way I have access to all the premium features. Keep that in mind, that if you do not have Launchbox Premium, that mine is already logged in or registered, so I do have access to some features. I'm not really going to mess with any features. I'm really just going to load the games up, and whether you're on the free version of Launchbox or the premium version, it will not affect your experience. It's just there's going to be access to some additional features that you will only have access to if you have the premium version. So I do want to give you that disclosure as well. So let's go ahead and get started with this review. And to get started, the first thing we're going to want to do is plug in our hard drive to our computer. When you do that, you're going to see this Mix Lite hard drive added to your PC. This drive has 3.63 available terabytes of space and currently has 96 gigabytes free. I went in and deleted some files to make room for editing and adding and changing things within this device, so understand that your device will come full. There will not be much of any available space, and I found that deleting some of the games that I knew I definitely wasn't going to play would free up some space for saves, videos, and other things needed to properly play a lot of these emulators on the device. So let's go ahead and open up the drive and see what's installed. Here, you're going to see Install Me First. This is to make some changes to your PC for DirectX. I already have this installed. I did not need to use this file here. I was able to play this without installing this folder first. Then we see Launchbox, Playnite, and Retrobat. And then we have some files here on how to change the drive letter. This is a requirement to play some games in Retrobat. We have some Launchbox and Playnite links here. And then we also have a user manual. The user manual is going to show you some system requirements that's needed and some tips and tricks in operating these each of these systems here. So to start this review, we are going to open up Retrobat. I do want to open up the file and show you how this is all organized. And if you've ever tried to set up a retro console on a computer, you'll know that this part of the process is very time consuming. If you do not have the BIOS in the right location, if you do not have them saved correctly, you will not be able to play your games on your own retro console, and there's very little resources available to just download everything and have it installed for you. So what you're paying for is the ability to have all this organized for you, and you can see here all the emulators are all organized here. We also have a list of ROMs separated by console listed here, so we can click one of these and see all the different ROMs that the emulator is going to be accessing when you run Retrobat. So I think here, for me, someone who's tried to set up a retro console, this is something that is saving me a ton of time and energy in setting it up. And of course, if you have your own ROMs that are not found in this device, you can add to them by just dropping them into the ROMs folder. But you want to make sure that you are not tampering with these folders and causing them to not work. And that's very easy to do if you are not familiar with how Retrobat accesses these files. And I would recommend YouTube to find ways that you can modify Retrobat to customize it the way you want. And your Retrobat, when you load it up the first time, will look differently than mine. The included user interface was Next Level Remix. I did not like the way it looked. It looked a little too cluttered, so I switched it up. There are a ton of features here that you can go through and modify to make this system look the way you want it to look. And today's video is not a review of Retrobat, so what we're doing is we're looking to see what came included with the hard drive, but know that Retrobat on its own is its own thing, separate from the device that you're purchasing. And so while this is going to work right out of the box, there's going to be a lot of growing pains you're going to have with running this system. And I would say that a lot of people are buying this game to play a lot of these retro arcade games. some of these with this gun here, that's actually going to be a light gun game, and unless your computer is configured to play a light gun game, you're not going to be able to play these out of the box, and it's actually very difficult. Requires a lot of peripheral attachments to your computer to make those work. So be prepared to not be able to play that game, but otherwise you should be able to come in here and just pick a game and just load it right up. And so I have not made any alterations to my computer. I'm picking a ROM directly found off of Retrobat, and we're loading it up. As you can see here, it loaded up quite well. We are not hearing sound on this because I do not want to get any kind of copyright infringement on some of these games that I'm going to test. But you can see here, I am playing this game. I am using an Xbox Series X controller, and well, I don't even know how to play this game. I just know, okay, let's just shoot all these guys. But you can see here this game is working, and Retrobat will allow you to exit the ROM by pressing start and select on your controller. So Mame, I have no doubt, is going to work very well, especially if you have some of the lower end system requirements for recommended for this hard drive. I have no idea what I'm doing, by the way. I'll back out of that. But let's test some other ROMs here. I think some other people may be wanting to buy this so that they can play Nintendo, Super Nintendo, etc. So we'll just come in here, pick a game, and see if it loads up. This was one of my favorite growing up. So you can see here it is loaded up. I have my Series X controller connected. You see the bevels are already installed. So you can see the Super Nintendo is on the left and right of the screen. The game is loading up exactly the way I remember it. And we do have the logo for Aladdin, and everything is configured for me. I'm using the D-pad to move. The analog stick is not working, which is fine because the Super Nintendo did not have any analog stick. So we're going to get out of this. You can see Aladdin was working, and that is a Super Nintendo game. Now we'll go over to Nintendo 64. In the past, I've had difficulty running some games on Nintendo 64. There's just so many emulators, and Nintendo 64 is very difficult to emulate. But let's see. Okay, so far looks good. Loading screen looks good. And so the first ROM that I picked up, Banjo Kazooie, appears to be working. The colors are coming in quite nice. And so I'm not going to play test the game, but it is working. So Banjo Kazooie is there. Let's see what else comes included here. We have Sega Genesis. So NAOMI is a Sega Dreamcast type system that was only found at arcades and typically in Japan. So when you load these games up, you're going to be playing them as if they were the arcade version of the game, which will require you to have credits to play. But I do find that the graphical view of the game is pretty extensive. It's not like your typical Super Nintendo game where the graphics are very simple and clean. So here we have the NAOMI loading screen. Let's see if we get access to the game. Alright, so Powerstone is loading up. All we'll have to do is push select to add credits into the game. And the game looks pretty good. So you can pick your character here. And we are inside of Powerstone 2. And this would be the arcade version of the game. So if you've played this on Dreamcast, it's going to be very similar to the Dreamcast version, except you will have to enter credits to continue versus, just starting manually. So here we are playing Powerstone 2 on the Retrobat, loaded directly from the hard drive, included from the Retro console on Aliexpress. And so again, sound is coming in nice and clean, visuals look good. Game is working as I remember it. Alright, so start and select to just exit out. And remember that the performance of your game is going to vary depending on the game that you, or the system that you currently have. I have an RTX 3080 graphics card, and I have 32 gigs of RAM, so I anticipate everything's going to work very well on this device. I do want to show you here on all games, we have 49,288 games, and we have a variety of consoles that came included. So I'm not going to test every single one of them, but this is to show you that right out of the box, you're able to play the Retrobat console plugged right into your computer without any installation needed. And to exit, all we're going to do is in the screen, we're going to hit quit on our controller, and we are back to our desktop. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to test Launchbox. This is one that I'm very excited for. Again, what you're paying for is the organization of all the emulators, all the BIOS. This is something that if you, again, want to use Launchbox to set up a retro console, you do not need to pay for this hard drive. You can do it at home yourself. However, it was very time consuming. There were a lot of FAQs online, but for 80 bucks, you can have it already set up for you. There's no need to purchase anything, and you can load Launchbox from home. Now, it comes with Big Box and Launchbox. Launchbox is a way that you can interact with finding the ROM that you want directly with mouse and keyboard. But Big Box is going to look like Retrobat in a sense, because all the consoles are going to be laid out, and you can maneuver them with a controller. You will not need to use a mouse and keyboard. So I'm going to load up with Big Box, but just know that Big Box and Launchbox came included off this device. I did not need to install anything or make any modifications. This is how it's shown. And so let's go through all the consoles that are included here. We have Gamecube, Switch, Wii, WiiU, Dreamcast, Genesis, Saturn, PlayStation, PS2, PS3, 4, PSP, Super Nintendo, 3DO, N64, Nintendo DS, and then Nintendo Entertainment System. So those are all the systems that come included. Now, one thing that I was very excited for was to play PS2, PS3, PS4, but also I saw in the ad it had PS5 and Xbox in here. Those are missing from this. So in the ad, just images, I don't think it mentioned it in the description, but in the images it has like Xbox and has PS5 in there. I do not see them in here, but there is PS4 games, and PS4 is still relatively new. So let's go ahead and test a game out here and make sure that it loads. I was actually playing Spiderman, so let's see if it remembers where I was or if I have to start all over again. Now, when using Launchbox to play a game, especially PlayStation, you're going to have to use your mouse to hit this play button. I sat there looking at my screen for like 10 minutes the first time I loaded up Spider-Man, pushing all the buttons on my controller, but you do need to use your controller to interact with this. And keep in mind that system requirements are going to matter for a PS4 game. I do believe I have well exceeded the system requirements for a PS4 game, but if you're running kind of on a lower end rig at home, this experience may vary for you. So you can see here the loading screen is coming in nice and clear. Music sounds good, although I know you cannot hear it. And so here we have Spider-Man. Here we're going to continue, see if it remembers where I was. Yeah, so it remembers where it was. Oh, let's see, exiting by accident. What's nice is that when you're in the game and you save using a feature in the game to save, it will remember where you were. It's no different than using a PS4 from my experience. I did play with this for a few minutes prior to this video, but I did want to show you it in action. But I am playing Spider-Man 4. There is very little slowdown or delay in the game. It's running as if I would be playing this on my own PS4. Now, I never did play Spider-Man, so I'm not very good. So I'm kind of learning right now how to play. I've always been an Xbox fan, and that was actually one of my deciding factors of getting this portable hard drive, was that it had PlayStation games in there. I didn't really play much at PS3 or PS4, so having access to the catalog that's included here was really nice. I did play a lot of Xbox games, so the fact that Xbox is missing doesn't bother me so much, but if that was you, you're buying this for Xbox games, this was notably missing from this device. And so we're going to exit out of this now, just kind of swinging around right now. And all I'm doing is pushing escape on my keyboard to escape the game. And so now we're back to the menu here. So PS4 works. We're going to go down to PS3 now. PS3, we'll load up Ridge Racer. Well, let's look at all of the games. And so what you got to do, and let me do that real quick. So included with PS4, we have Spiderman, Witcher 3, WRC 8, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, Assassin's Creed Origins, Dying Light, God of War, Grand Theft Auto 5, Last of Us Part 1, I'm real excited to play that one, Prototype 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, again, that's another game I'm excited to play, Resident Evil 2, the remake, Resident Evil 4, this is not the remake, this is basically a port of the original, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and that's basically it. So a very small list here, but these are very memory intensive, so you're not going to have a lot of games in this category. Let's go over to PS3 now. PS3, let's go through the list here. I'm not going to read them off because as we go through some of these other consoles, the list goes longer and longer. We're just going to go scroll through. Let's load up Soulcalibur because that might load up very quickly for us to play. Alright, so I went ahead and fast forwarded through all the loading. I left it in there, but just sped everything up for you so you could see something that you might experience when you first play a game on PlayStation. I didn't see that with Spider-Man, or compiling shaders was a thing, but I did see it with Last of Us when I tried it out. But now, probably about 2 minutes into loading the game I am playing, I should have went to quick mode. Let's go to quick mode. Arcade will work. Just want to see how it looks. Sound's coming in okay. We're still compiling shaders on the left of the screen here. Not sure if that's going to affect the performance of the game, but so far, sound's coming in good. Sometimes there's a little bit of stutter when I select something within this game, but now that the game is playing, I am playing this game. The controls are exactly where I would want them to be right out of the box. So no modifications there. I'm using my Xbox controller on a PlayStation game and it's working exactly the way I would expect it to work. So PlayStation 3 works. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. All you're going to do is click the X to close it out, and then you'll be right back into Big Box. So PlayStation 3 works. We're going to go down to PlayStation 2. We're going to do a quick look at all the games that are included. But then I want to do a review of all the Resident Evil 4s. We saw Resident Evil 4 and PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, now PlayStation 2. But let's go through here. You can see all the games. And PlayStation 2, there are a ton of games in here. So, I mean, like Samurai Warriors, all these games here. Just so many games in PlayStation 2. So I'm going to scroll through. But this is where, you know, the memory files of these games are a lot less. And so I'm just going to hold this down because it will take a while to go through the complete catalog of games. This will be a good one to test. SSX. We'll just load this up. All right, so we have the game loaded up now. Sound is coming in very good. Let's see how fast we can jump into a PS2 game here. We have single event. The color seems a little dark. Don't know if that's how it looked back when the game first released, but the screen's a little dark. Not sure if that's an emulator problem. That's just the way the game was. But let's see if we're playing the game. And there is not enough time to test every single ROM and every single emulator in this review. But I would imagine that you're going to come across games that just aren't going to work. That is going to be an unfortunate part of this, but so far, just from a random sampling of games, the games that I've selected today are working. Controls are working just fine. Don't really know how to play this game, so don't know if there's anything special I should be doing or testing, but the appearance, actually the color looks a little brighter outside of the menu as well. So the menu looks a little dim, but in the game itself, the colors look good and the sound's coming in perfectly. We'll go ahead and exit out of this. Yes, we do want to shut down our virtual machine. And my mouse wasn't coming up on the screen. So all I did was push escape, and that fixed the problem. Did not need to use my mouse. And so we have a PS2. Now we're going to head over to PlayStation. I have no doubt PlayStation's going to work, but let's just scroll down the complete list of games. I know this is probably going way too fast for you to really even know, but I just want you to see that for PlayStation, you're basically getting the complete catalog. I mean, I'm sure there's probably 1 or 2 games missing here, but given the list that I'm scrolling through, it's pretty complete from my quick visual inspection here. And so we'll just pick a game. I like doing racing games, or because you can just get right into the game very quickly. So we'll do R-Type Delta. That's not even a racing game, but that looks like it'll be. No, I hate games where you have like this long tutorial and story, that a non-skippable screen. Those are things that kind of annoy me. Okay, so PlayStation's not working. And I think I read that for the BIOS to work, you have to change your name, the drive name, to R. So we might have to change the drive name on PlayStation to get these to work. But so far, none of the PlayStation games are working right out of the box. But there was a tutorial how to change the drive name, and that should fix the problem. We're going to head over to Sega Saturn now. Again, this is going to be a very complete list of games here. I don't know if it's all of Sega Saturn, but there is a huge list of games here, so I'm sure it's fairly complete. I'll just pick a game. See how that loads up. So Sega Saturn looks to be loading up. We're in the 90s now, so I would imagine that the games in the 90s are going to be fairly easy to emulate in ROM. And Casper is giving me a little bit of issue here. That black screen is what I'm seeing on my screen as well. So don't know if that's just this game here. Let's try a different Sega Saturn game. I bust a move. So Casper gave me a little bit of trouble. And one thing I found with a lot of these out of the box, Launchbox or Retrobat, you have to change the emulator or settings to really properly run the game that you want. So if you have trouble launching a game and it's not unique to the whole system, you might have to go into the settings, because here we have Bust a Move 3 and it is working for me. Not sure what was going on with Casper. Let's see, make sure we're playing the game. Yep, we're playing the game and it's working exactly the way I would expect it to. Alright, so that was unique to Casper, not unique to the whole system. We're going to exit out of Sega Saturn now. We're going to head over to Sega Genesis. And actually, I'm going to skip over Sega Genesis. I'm going to skip because that one's a fairly easy game system to emulate. And it's also in the Retrobat. Same with Dreamcast, but we didn't see Dreamcast in Retrobat. And honestly, I would prefer to play Dreamcast on Launchbox. because some of the system settings are easier to access in Launchbox versus Retrobat. So some of the higher end games that are in Retrobat, launch them out of Launchbox. It might be a better experience for you. So here we can see the Dreamcast is working. We're in a game now, about ready to play a fighting game. There is such a ton of good games in Dreamcast, so I'm really excited to go through and play all of these. So here we have the game working pretty good. AI's not moving. Oh, there we go. I thought maybe the AI wasn't working, but no, it's just really easy. So we're gonna escape out of this on the keyboard. But let's go through the list. I didn't go through the whole list of Dreamcast games. Now, Dreamcast did not have a huge collection of games, but I will tell you that this list here looks pretty inclusive. There's a lot of games on here. If you're looking for a Dreamcast collection, it's all here. And I'm kind of grinning as I go through this list because a lot of my childhood was dedicated to this Dreamcast, and to go back and play every single one of these games, it's going to be a blast. So as you can see, we're looping back around now, but a ton of games. Wii U, this is a newer game. Let's try Super Mario 3D World, but this is actually a very short list. We got Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario Maker, Tekken, Xenoblade Chronicles, Donkey Kong, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Mario Kart 8, Mario Party 10, Pokken Tournament, and then we'll just load one up. I don't know anybody that owned a Wii U. I know that I have a little one at home that's going to love playing this with me. He loves Mario. And just to go back and play all these games is going to be great. Sound is coming in nice and clean. You can see these new games, there's going to be a lot of like compiling of things in the background. Doesn't seem to be affecting performance. Okay, so that was the intro screen. Kind of just fast forwarded that so that we could see that it was there and everything was working. But right now, the game is loading up for us. And again, the game is working perfectly. There's no frame rate stuttering or anything like that. It's loading the game. I had some concerns, with some of these higher end games, if the hard drive would be able to play the game. And there so far has been no stuttering or anything like that. The game is working as I imagined it would. So we're going to exit out of the Wii U and head on to the next console. Next system is going to be the Nintendo Wii. So here we have another Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Galaxy, Smash Brothers Brawl. So it's a very short list of Wii games. There could definitely have been more. The collection is pretty big. But let's load up Brawl. That is a game I could imagine many people wanting to play. So the game is working. You can use the controller to pick somebody. Oh. So I'm using the right analog stick to do that. Okay. So learning the controls is probably gonna be a thing because they're not where I would expect them to be, but I'm using a D-pad or a controller versus the nunchuck and the Wii remote. But from what I recall, the C stick is basically the D-pad or the right analog stick. So we're going to exit out of here. We're out of the Wii. You can see the Wii is working. Nintendo Switch. So we can see the games we have on Nintendo Switch. And so it's a very short list. You can see here we have Tears of the Kingdom, we have Breath of the Wild. Those are some newer games on here, or games that I would imagine people would want to try. Let's do a racing game just to see if it works. Now, I will say I did try a Switch game earlier. I don't remember the game I tested, but I was unable to get my controller to control the screen, so it wasn't detecting my controller. And so right now, let me see if so I'm clicking it with my mouse. I'm not being able to connect over here. There are some buttons up here. Might need to go through some of these settings I figure out how to control it, but right out of the box, I'm not able to just play a Switch game out of this. So you might need to do some research if you're buying this to play some of the included Switch games, but I don't know if you have to connect a Switch controller to your PC, but it's not detecting it. I cannot move anything, and I don't really have the patience to figure it out for this video. So we'll go ahead and go past the Switch. That's the same error I had when I tested another game. So I think it's just unique to the Switch due to the unique console. Here we have the Nintendo Gamecube. Huge collection of games on here. So we're going to go through the collection. So just like the Dreamcast, the Gamecube was like my childhood as well. And I have a ton of memories playing a bunch of these games like Tony Hawk, Pro Skater, Underground. And so that was like a story mode of Tony Hawk. Really great game. Let's just jump into a Tony Hawk game, see how quickly it loads up. But huge collection of GameCube games. I don't know if it's the complete collection, but it is a lot of them. I remember this intro here. Okay, we're in the game now. What I like about playing off of this is that, maybe it's just my computer, but everything looks cleaner than I remember. Like, because I was playing on a CRT back when I was a kid. But the controls are right where I would expect them to be. Like, I was not prepared to play this game, but just from my memory of how to play Tony Hawk, I'm able to do some basic things. There was not any kind of configuring needed on my part. Music's playing. So we'll go ahead and escape this. So GameCube is working. I didn't go through the whole list, but let's go continue on. You can see there's a ton of games to be played here. I think I was in the P's when I loaded this up. You can see a very big collection of GameCube games are included here. So NES, I have no doubts that that'll run. We can play that on the Retrobat. Now, I will say that there are DS games on here. You're going to use your mouse for the lower screen, and you're going to use your controller for the upper screen. And so if we just play like Super Mario, this is an easy game. I don't think there was much to do with the lower screen. But if you do need to access the lower screen, you're just going to use your mouse. And for the amount of DS games that are on here, it's actually quite nice to be able to play the DS games, because I have a DS and would love to go through and play through these games, but I typically don't have it charged or, you know, really have a big catalog of games. So not gonna go out and find them. I know one of the games that I really liked was Elite Beat Agents, and it would be interesting to play that with a mouse versus a stylus. We can see the DS is loading up, and so down here you can see this little, that's where my stylus is looking at, and that I'm using that with my mouse. And then up above, I'm using my controller to control the top screen. And so it's going to be a little bit harder to have your hand on the controller and then switch over to the dual screen on this game, because sometimes if you want to drop an item real quick, you're going to have to let go of the controller. And I guess you would do the same with the stylus, but it was a little bit more natural. Okay, and I just lost to the first Goomba. So we'll end on that note there. And let's just go through the list. A lot of Pokemon games. So if you like Pokemon, a lot of Pokemon games on here. And all these games, when you are ready to save them, you'll be able to save them directly in the game, and your emulator Launchbox will remember where you were. Now N64 you can load in Retrobat. You may want to load it off of Launchbox. It really is a preference. It's the same exact collection of games. 3DO, same thing, Retrobat will load that. And then the last console was PSP. Let's just look through the list, and this will be the last game that we test. We'll go through. This is a huge list of PSP games here. You can see there's a ton of games. There's a game in here I hope is on here. Initial D. See if that's on here. It's a Japanese game. Let's go to I don't see it. But the cool thing is that if you have a ROM, like I have the ROM of Initial D, I can just throw it in here and I'll be able to play it. It's a lot easier to add a single ROM than building this whole collection. We'll jump into, but I did not mean to click that. I meant to click Peggle. I love Peggle. So this is loading up right off the PSP. Everything looks good. We got the wonderful Peggle intro music. Okay. All right, so we're playing Peggle on the PSP. All right, so we'll exit out of here. Oh. Escape didn't allow me to escape the ROM. Let's see here. Okay, we got to go over here. Exit to menu. Oh, that's just putting me in a PSP. I'm gonna exit there. Okay, so we had to exit and exit, but I was able to get out of there. And there's just a huge list of games for PSP here. And just remember, if something's missing and you have the ROM, you can just add it in yourself. But that is everything out of Launchbox. There's tons of content. The only one that we had issues was this PSP. It was notated in the notes that you do have to change the name of your drive, and I'm not going to do that today for this video, but that was really the only thing that we came across that was a bit of an issue, was loading a PSP game. So the next thing we're going to test is going to be Playnite, and Playnite is basically PC games. So we're gonna load up. I believe all you have to do is click here. And this is a launcher for PC games. And so let's see what's included here. I'm using my mouse and keyboard to look through the list. So we have Battletoads, Beholder, Grand Theft Auto 3, San Andreas, Vice City. Not a big list. This is kind of new here. Shredder's Revenge. This is the complete games, and this is one that I was excited to play, Elden Ring. That alone, you know, is a $60 game. Even if you find it on sale, that's a $40 game. So if I'm able to play Elden Ring right here off, you know, off of this hard drive, that saved me $40. And then Spiderman, that's another, you know, let's just say $20 game if you own a PS4. I mean, those two games alone, I easily could see myself buying at some point. And so let's see here, Elden Ring loading up. I've never played Elden Ring. We accept. Inappropriate activity detected, unable to start an online mode. Okay, so you're forced to play an offline mode. That is something I would expect from not owning the game outright and emulating it. Trying to get into the game here. I wonder how I entered the name. Oh, I just have to type it. Okay, so my keyboard's working. I was waiting for the menu to pop up so I could use my controller. And so here I think I'm going to take an opportunity to give my final verdicts on this device. So for $80, 4TB hard drive shipped to your door, I do believe you are getting what is advertised here. Now keep in mind that if you were to set up this system at home, which would be free to do, Retrobat's free to do, Launchbox free to do. I've never encountered Playnite, but I'm guessing that's just a PC loader. Those are all free to do at home. But the challenge you're going to find is finding copies of these ROMs, organizing the files, making sure that they're able to play outside the box. As you can see here, all I did was plug in my hard drive to my computer, and I'm playing a game like Elden Ring, and 5 minutes later I could be playing an NES game. So I do think that the value of this device is just having everything done for you, having access to all the ROMs. If you were to go through and buy every single game on here, you would be in several thousands of dollars, and that's including just legal means to acquire these games. There's going to be a lot of games that you cannot acquire anymore due to their age. And so I would just say that my verdict on this is that it is as advertised. Your experience may vary depending on the PC that you currently possess, but if you do have a gaming rig set up, I think that your experience will be very similar to mine, where you're able to just plug this into your computer, launch any game from the catalog that I've shown you here. You may encounter a few bugs where a game's not loading, but that's going to be unique to the emulator. That's going to be unique to the system that you're running it off of. It doesn't look like it's going to be unique to the whole system. I did not, from a random sampling of games that I've tested, not even including the ones in this video. I did play with this for a few hours prior to recording this video. I did not once ever encounter a problem that I couldn't work my way through. So even just the instance with the PlayStation, I'm fairly certain if I just follow the instructions and change the name of my drive, as was recommended in the instruction manual, I have no doubts that I would be able to play the PlayStation games that are included on this. That was really the only challenge that I was able to encounter live on this video, but otherwise I've played pretty much every system on here. Did not have any issues launching a game. When I recorded this video, I picked different games just so that we would get a larger pool of games tested, but not once did I have any issues with controller configuration, with buffering. I really thought that being plugged into a portable hard drive and launching the game off of a portable hard drive versus a static hard drive, solid state hard drive, that maybe there might be some loading issues. Final verdict, this is exactly as advertised. It's working perfectly for me. The only thing that I would say is that there was no PS5 game, there was no Xbox games included on this. I think I saw that in the description. Otherwise, everything as advertised is working just for me. So if you like this video, please leave me a comment below. If you do get this product, let me know how it works for you. Thank you so much for watching. You have a good day.